The kid Carlos Boozer was holding in the video is Cameron Boozer, the new number 3 overall pick. His first mission after coming into this world was not to play in the NBA. It was to save his older brother beside him. And that tiny kid walking into the frame on the left, that was Cayden Boozer, Cam's twin brother. Together, they became the family's double lifeline. Without the two of them, their older brother Carmani Boozer might no longer be alive. When Cameron was drafted by the Grizzlies and officially became an NBA player, Carmani, the brother outside the spotlight, stood behind the couch with no trace of jealousy on his face. He said with emotion, "I'm proud of Cameron, and to be able to call him my little brother is amazing." Cameron stands 6'9" and weighs 250 pounds. He clearly inherited his father's frame. By 7th grade, he was already ranked as the number 1 player in the country in his class. He led his team to 4 straight state championships, and he was named National Player of the Year twice. For college, he chose Duke, his father's alma mater. Scouts often mention 2 names in his NBA comparisons: Tim Duncan and Kevin Love. Some people call Cameron a savior sibling. He and Cayden came from a group of 26 embryos, and because of that, his parents once faced deep moral conflict. The story begins in July of 2006. At the time, Carlos's oldest son, Carmani, was only 2 months old. Then doctors told them the child had sickle cell anemia. That was the first time Carlos and Cece had ever heard that medical term. The doctor gave them a long and technical explanation. They could barely understand it, but the final sentence shook the young couple to their core. At the moment, there is no simple cure for this disease. Put simply, Carmani had a life-threatening disease with no easy cure. His red blood cells were no longer soft and flexible. They had become hard, sticky, and shaped like sickles. Healthy red blood cells can slide smoothly through the body, but sickled cells can jam the blood vessels and cut off blood flow to the arms, legs, and organs. According to the CDC, sickle cell disease can shorten life expectancy by more than 20 years. Cece did not come from a wealthy family. Her mother had to work 2 jobs just to support her daughter. Carlos's family was not much better off. As a kid, he could only play basketball in the driveway on a homemade hoop. Precisely because they had been poor and had suffered, they refused to believe in fate. If even they backed down, Carmani would lose his best chance at hope. After their son was diagnosed, Cece buried herself in libraries. She read everything she could find: what sickle cell anemia was, how it could be treated, how to prevent infections after surgery. She practically became a self-taught medical expert. Los Angeles, New York, Boston. She visited nearly every famous children's medical institution in the country. This strong mother always believed her son's disease could be cured. She believed he could live a normal life like everyone else. Finally, at a clinic in Atlanta, she heard about a case that had been cured. But the treatment was extremely bold. They would need to have another child and extract stem cells from the newborn's umbilical cord blood. To make sure the newborn did not carry the disease-causing gene, Carlos and Cece had to go through in vitro fertilization, or IVF, and genetic screening. In the end, they created 26 embryos. 10 were a match for Carmani, but only 2 did not carry the sickle cell anemia gene. To increase the chance of success, both embryos were implanted into Cece. She successfully became pregnant with twins. At the same time, Carmani's condition was getting rapidly worse. His hair began falling out. He vomited repeatedly. His weight dropped sharply. His skin turned grayish-white and peeled off in patches. His body temperature swung up and down. His mouth was filled with ulcers. He could barely swallow. Without a transplant, his life was in immediate danger. Looking at Cece's growing belly, Carlos and Cece felt both joy and guilt. They knew the children inside that belly were coming into this world with one urgent purpose: to cure their older brother, Carmani. On July 18, 2007, Cameron and Cayden were born. Doctors immediately collected stem cells from their umbilical cords. Carlos held the twins in his arms. Beside him, Carmani looked timidly at his 2 little brothers. His mother told him they were the family's 2 new little angels. Of course, he did not know those 2 little angels had come to save his life. The surgery was successful. Carmani recovered his health. The 3 brothers became the Boozer family's own little sports crew. Basketball, baseball, football, soccer. They played everything together. Carmani was better at baseball. He even earned a baseball scholarship. The two younger brothers, Cam and Cayden, loved basketball more. As a former NBA All-Star, Carlos did not try to coach every detail of his son's games. The reason was simple. Today's basketball is completely different from the era he played in. In the past, big men mainly battled in the low post. Now they need many more skills, including high post playmaking and three-point shooting. Carlos made just one three-pointer in his entire NBA career. He did not want to act like an old-school authority figure, and he refused to romanticize the past while dismissing the present. He wanted Cam to explore his own style in this new basketball era. Just as Carlos hoped, Cam's game is full of modern elements. He combines interior scoring, outside shooting, and high-level playmaking. On the night Cam became the number 3 overall pick, the entire Boozer family gathered together. Although Carlos and Cece had divorced back in 2015, both of them were there that night. For Cam, the first mission he had when he came into this world had already been completed. Now, it is time to make his own mark in the NBA.